This video is sponsored by James. So today's video is on prostitution, its effect on men and whether it should be legal or not in the West. First things first. Men pay for sex with a woman one way or another. Every time you take out a woman on a date, when you pay for her dinner, when you take her to the movies, or go on holiday together, let's face it, you're paying for it. However, if you're dating and getting married just in order to get guaranteed sex from a woman, that isn't always the case. She may have sex with you regularly at the start, but once you marry her or she moves in with you, chances are that sex life can go down the toilet rather quickly, and women are masters at making up reasons not to have sex.
I had a chili dog for lunch, okay? I'm a little bloated. I did like 18 loads of laundry. I'm tired. I haven't showered in 3 days and I smell like a bag of onions. No, I don't want to cuddle. I know what cuddling means. I won't go to sleep. Are you serious? It's a school night.
If a man uses a prostitute to relieve himself, then at least he has full control of the situation. He's very unlikely to get a divorce or being forced into pleasing his partner just so he can get laid from time to time when she chooses. I think prostitution is illegal in many countries for a reason. It keeps the money flowing from men's wallets, it makes sure that these men are compliant, family men who are dominated by women. The women influence the way these men spend their money, and the majority of it goes into pleasing their wife or girlfriend. In my opinion, feminist-oriented politicians are the reason behind this. If they legalize prostitution, they fear that lots of men would not put up with the tantrums and demands of their girlfriends or wives. And if sex was readily available, then using it as a weapon against men would be futile. And isn't it ironic that women often use sex in order to get free dinner dates, gifts, and trips overseas? And even marriage itself is a form of prostitution because a woman usually selects the best man she can find because he must be well off financially and be able to provide for her and their possible future offspring. Now let's take a look at the Sky News segment, which states that not only is legal prostitution safer for women, it also benefits men.
Now, a leading expert on prostitution in Australia says Britain would have fewer murders if the sex industry was decriminalised. Indeed, the state of New South Wales has permitted prostitution there for the past 15 years. Well, David Cameron recently said it may be time to look again at Britain's sex laws in the wake of the murder of 3 prostitutes in Bradford. Ian Woods has this report from Sydney.
Hello, my name is Randy. Welcome. Follow me.
Randy's regular paying visitors can come in and relax, secure in the knowledge that they're both engaged in a perfectly legal business transaction.
And this is the main problem with illegal prostitution. Not many men are willing to break the law and hire sex workers simply to relieve their daily or weekly sexual urges. Furthermore, legal prostitutes are usually required to be checked for sexually transmitted diseases, thus minimizing any risk involved during sex.
It is just like any other job, perhaps less stressful.
Amore is one of 200 Sydney brothels. It has 9 rooms and clients pay just over £150 an hour for sex. In some other parts of Australia, establishments like this can still be raided, but in New South Wales, prostitution has been decriminalised for 15 years.
It is meant to be a relaxing environment, and when you're worried about things like police raids or these kinds of things, or what's going to happen next, is someone going to bang on the door and rush in and arrest you, it's not relaxing.
Even though Sydney gets a bad rap for being a violent and dangerous city as far as organised crime, drugs and alcohol goes, they seem to have the right idea about decriminalising prostitution. Perhaps the rest of Australia as well as the world can follow New South Wales?
This brothel is on a busy main road, but there are smart residential apartments nearby and a park and children's play area opposite. Brothels need to follow council guidelines to get planning approval, but they haven't been banished to dark corners of the city. And the industry has its own association.
I think we need to really consider what is the fear of what occurs in a brothel. It is adults having sex and going about their day-to-day business. It isn't really something that's going to have a strong impact on the community or anyone who sees the building or anyone coming or going from the business.
Yes, but not according to the feminist-orientated politicians who think that providing men with easily attainable sex for a fee is a heinous crime that should be looked down upon.
Street prostitution is also legal. You can see why all of those involved appreciate the liberal laws, but how does it benefit the rest of society? Well, decriminalisation has seen a drop in rates of HIV and sexually transmitted diseases. Sex workers can get condoms for free.
Decriminalisation results in a healthier sex industry, which means that if your son or your husband sneaks off to the brothel at night, he's far more likely to come home healthy.
It's a safer industry in other ways too.
Legal status means it's no longer prone to police corruption and ties to the underworld. And though sex workers are still vulnerable to violence, they're more likely to report it.
Professor Donovan argues that serial killers like Stephen Wright, who murdered 5 women in Ipswich, would be caught sooner if prostitutes felt free to report suspicious behaviour.
You couldn't get a Stephen Wright situation in New South Wales.
I can actually ask the police for help and support, and they're not going to try to arrest me, and I don't have to hide my profession. And yeah, if there's a client or a person that I feel is of interest to the police, I can actually call the police and tell them. In a criminalised setting, I would not do that.
Cleaning it up and legalising it hasn't completely removed the stigma. Clients were unwilling to discuss their visits, even anonymously. It may be legit, but it's still a very private business. Ian Woods, Sky News, Sydney.
See, the way I see it, legalized, safe prostitution is a win-win for both men and women. Women get paid, while men get what they want. Sex. It promotes safe sex, it stops women from getting killed and abused on the job, and men also finally have a choice when it comes to their sex life. Obviously, this is not a way out for a number of men out there, but it still is an option for many others. I personally do not like the idea of paying for sex, but I certainly would only welcome the idea of legalized prostitution. What do you think about legalizing prostitution in your country? Post your comments down below. Thank you once again to James for sponsoring this video. Thanks for watching, like this video and subscribe.